Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're excited to present the session Superapps, Perfect Balance in a Digital Era. Please welcome on stage the moderator, Tao Tao, founder of App VC, who will introduce his panel. Tao, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to the session. My name is Tao Tao, founder of App VC. And whoever hasn't heard of App VC, we are not a double glazing window company. We're our early stage venture capital focusing on the FinTech or disruptive FinTech businesses across Euro-Asia. It's very pleasure for me to actually have a group of a guru discussing the super app in this session today. And I think from ourselves, let me start on myself. And I happen to work for a super app called Alipay, former head of Alipay UK and Southern Europe. And as our App VC fund, we are the early stage investor of a couple of super app unicorn, including Revolut. So if I may ask our panelists to introduce themselves, name, company, and your involvement with a super app, that would be very, very helpful. Shall we start with Pietro?
Yes. Thank you, Tao. I'm Pietro Candela. I'm in charge of the development of Alipay Plus in Europe and the Middle East. And our project started with Alipay China, that is one of the first app who embraced this super app mega trend. Actually, we host 3 million services in our app, and with our recent project that is called Alipay Plus, that means Alipay Plus partner. So we partner with other app across the world. We are trying to create an ecosystem of super app that are hosting services shared among multiple countries.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ritesh. I lead FinTech and Business Solutions Unit at Rakuten Viber. So Rakuten is a Japanese conglomerate, and Viber is one of the messaging apps from early days. And I lead everything around payments and e-commerce and business solutions. So effectively having on the journey, going from messaging and content to making it a super app in the markets where Viber has a strong presence.
I'm Laura McCracken. I am currently on the board of the Payments Association. And previously, in my previous life, I worked for Amazon and Facebook, where I was trying to help them along their journey to marketplaces and super apps. And I'm a big fan of Alipay, studied it very closely, and work with companies now on their super app strategies.
Thank you. Max Excell, Region Director for GBG, and we're the global leaders in identity and fraud. We support many of the world's largest super apps to help them compliantly onboard good customers whilst detecting the bad actors in the process. So we do that via a combination of data and technology.
Hi everyone, I'm Slobodan Manojlovic. I'm tech lead and senior associate at JP Morgan Chase. I'm based in Glasgow, Scotland. Out there we develop apps, mainly mobile apps, and I'm on the Android part of building these apps. It's been 2 or 3 years that I work out there. Previously I've been working in other big companies in micromobility, logistics, automotive industry, and now, as I told you, I'm at JP Morgan.
Thank you very much. I will start on my first question, actually. There are many, actually, definitions about a super app, many types and categories about a super app. But I would love to really keen to actually hear from our panelists. If we let you to make a definition, what is your understanding of a super app? Can I start with Pietro as well?
Yes. Yes, a super app is a new concept in the mobile economy, in which finally we are unlocking the monolith architecture that today is characterizing the mobile app world. So it's possible to have on one side the owner of the app who manage the customer, who manage the traffic, and is able to host multiple services coming from the ecosystem within an open innovation environment without having to touch the information technology every time. So there is this framework that can host multiple service provider, giving access to multiple content, multiple services in a very dynamic way. Just to give you a physical example, is like when retailers decided to open their store inside outlet. The outlet is a fantastic place where a lot of traffic is arriving every day, and a lot of promotion is managed by the owner of the outlet that is still a sort of real estate company. And on the other side, the beautiful brands of fashion and luxury are able to satisfy and fulfill the customer needs. This is the first time with the Superapp that in the mobile world there is a possibility to collaborate within the industry, because while traditional internet is an open environment, we know that we can go from one website to another just doing a search or knowing which is the right address to input in the bookmark. In the app, unfortunately, the world is very close. Few people use more than 10, 15 apps, and within this app there are only few services. With the super app concept, there is the possibility to have a wider collaboration among local actor, global actor, and so there is a possibility to give more value to the customer. That is what every digital company should try to do.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you just said. I think there's no one definition of super app. I think there's just different concepts, different countries, regions have different examples. The main idea is providing different services, different use cases in one app, which is seamless for the end user. And the classic examples were the Line, Kakao, or WeChat from China. But then now there are more examples in Southeast Asia. It might be Grab, where it started from mobility and then it expanded into other use cases, or new ones coming up in India or South America. So I think there are many different examples. There's no like one specific definition, and it depends on what the starting point of each company is, what's the strong product they start with, and how they continue to add on to it.
Yeah, I agree with both of you, and I will add on to that. I am a cook. I love cooking, so I like to think in terms of ingredients. So I feel like there are 4 essential ingredients to a super app, and then one last one that is a bit more creative, like the spices that go in. So the essential ingredients are, 1, you've got to have a wallet. That wallet needs to be a payment method. 3rd, you need to have some sense of identity, verification, who you are. 4th, you need to have some sort of network that connects people with merchants and with each other. And 5th is the special part, the fun part. So you've got to have the essentials, and then you can add on top of that commerce. And commerce could be anything. You could pick mini apps and mini programs. It could be dating. It could be live streaming. It could be financial services, trading, ride-hailing, food delivery, etc. So you can pick and choose what you want to put onto that super app, but you got to have those 4 ingredients first. So that's my opinion anyway.
Very good, actually. Very good summary. Max and Slope, and maybe a couple of lines on your side, please.
Just more from a consumer point of view, it's the one app that rules them all. But I don't think we've really seen that in Europe, especially in the UK. I think there's been so many attempts at it, but yeah, yet to see it yet.
Yeah, on the same page as Max. I think we have a lot of super-ish apps and not a lot of real super apps. It's more today of a buzzword, something that you want to sell, than something that you can really see on Google Play Store or an App Store. So I see it more as a trend today, but not something that exists besides, let's say, WeChat and maybe 1 or 2 other examples that are far away from the EMEA sector.
Thank you very much, actually. I got a quite interesting example from a gardener, actually. They call it a Swiss army knife. Actually, it can do lots of functionalities within one knife. But you need a core services actually to get customers come to you as a sticky point, and can be payments, can be social media, can be tools and for everyday life, and can be your taxi hauling app, can be your food delivery as well. So it's multi services and multi mini apps on the a digital platform, and aggregating those behaviors and customers with high frequency engagement. And I like to call it lifestyle. Actually, Alipay, when I was at Alipay, I called it lifestyle. So you kind of live with it, use it for financial services, entertainment, shopping, traveling, eating, and possibly, wealth management as well. So lovely. Okay, let's move on. Comes the time. And so, if we look at next question, from east to west, there was many super apps across the globe, and there are many apps actually, domestic country actually are very strong. So, I have a question for our, panelists. And so, what do you see? Any interesting trends? Any kind of from your perspective, that just make you find, oh, that's really cool. And, the super app, for example, from global landscape, just a couple lines from each, of panelists. Can I start with Pietro again, please?
Yes, definitely the concept, Superapp is an enabler, but is a powerful enabler for a different way of living. Tao is correct. Is the app, the super app concept moved the offer from product to need based. It's more customer centric, and especially in region in which demography is younger, for example Asia, Africa, this super app concept is much more advanced than in Western countries. We're talking about a billion of people who can change their life if they live in the mega cities or if they live in rural cities. In both cases, they can get a lot of advantage from the possibility to get access to everything from mobile. So the future of retail industry, the future of consumer business is going to become more and more mobile oriented than today. In Western countries, we see today the mobile change, the mobile transformation in the media, in the social. We know that mobile is changing the mindset of everybody. But this is just the beginning. The future of mobile is touching any type of services, any type of daily life aspect, from healthcare to government services to shopping. And this is important for Western countries. It's important for Europe to try to embrace this new trend in our way, that is not based probably on wallet, but on other type of payment, like a bank. Bank can be a fantastic platform to become super app. But on the other side, it's important to put the mobile topic, mobile lifestyle, mobile economy in the strategic agenda of the CEO. I will be one of the first investors in Tao Fund, because I think that this concept of app economy is going to continue to grow and take share in any type of business. So we are just at the beginning of a mobile transformation that is about bringing more value to customer, while the past was about the digital transformation, to reduce the cost to serve in the current services in the financial industry and in other sectors. The future will be more and more about mobile. It will be more and more about augmented experience in the physical world as well as in pure online experience. And again, this type of solution is an accelerator of this new interpretation of the business, of the lifestyle of people.
Yeah, I think I agree with the mobile trend. It's definitely growing. I think some of the differences between, let's say, emerging markets or Europe, more developed market, is a lot of these examples in the emerging markets gained momentum when the smartphone adoption increased very quickly, also along with internet on smartphone adoption. In countries like Europe or US, it was slightly different starting point, but as new use cases come up, I think there will be a place for newer players to expand and to become super app in their own way. So I think the trend is growing for companies who have the successful starting point to actually expand and cover more services, products, areas which consumers need, consumers are consuming. So I see the trend overall growing.
The trend I think about a lot, being in the Payments Association, is embedded finance. But I'm seeing that, I'm going to take that even further. So embedded finance is where you embed finance into the consumer journey, where they're shopping and living, et cetera, and you embed it so that it's almost invisible. But what's happening now, next, I think, is embedded commerce and total convergence. So convergence between financial services companies, fintechs, commerce companies, marketplaces, retailers, and social media companies like social networks. So I think when you converge all three of those types of companies, you're going to see more and more super apps rise up out of the convergence.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say super apps are far more in existence in Asia than they are in Europe, to your point there. But what stays consistent is brand recognition. From a GBG standpoint, what we do is we help to onboard good customers quickly, safely, and compliantly, and block out the bad actors in the process. So what that does is it just creates a really great user experience, and it just means that identity verification is core, as what you said is one of the main layers of the cake.
To get back to the original question, I think that there are huge cultural differences between the East and the West, the South and the North. North America and Europe have been, since 2008, adopting pretty quickly the mobile apps, and it's been done in a different way in China, where we have a couple of these big super apps, and on the other side, in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, they've completely skipped a step when we used to have laptops and computers. So this was super short period, and then they directly jumped into mobile apps. The way that they are linked to mobiles is different than we are, because that's been their primary source of work. So on the cultural side here in Europe, I think that we are way more used to having standalone apps, looking for quality products, than trying to have 10 or 15 different products within one. That's what if we can, historically speaking, in the last 10, 15 years, I think that these big standalone apps on the social side, travel, finance, big banks, that's been more or less the case in the last decade.
It's a really good point in Slobodan. Actually, I'd like to follow up that point. In East, or should I say, in emerging markets, we have many super apps. And in China, we got Alipay, WeChat Pay. India, we got Paytm, and Southeast Asia, Grab and Gojek. In Africa, we got OPay in Nigeria, and M-Pesa, across the Eastern Africa. In Latin America, we got Mercado Libre. So actually, I can name a few of the super apps across the landscape. But the question actually for me in the next one, just for the panel, is do you believe there will be super app or many super app in the Western world? And what is the reason behind that decision?
Can I ask
Laura,
you a question?
Yeah, please, Laura.
So what's the enemy of great? Anyone? What's the enemy of great? Anyone know?
To the floor, maybe?
Good, exactly. The enemy of great is good. And the thing is, in the US and in the West, we kind of got it pretty good. You've got a mature infrastructure of payments. You've got Amazon, so you can buy anything, or Rakuten. You can buy things through the marketplace. It's working. So what they'll tell you in the West is like, we don't have the need. But I do believe it's going to come because of Gen Z and because of live streaming, the creator economy and social commerce. That's going to change the game in the West as well.
It's a good point, very fair. Anyone else from the panel? Before I just give you my points.
No, I do believe that this trend is already started. We see the first sign also in Europe and US. At least from the declaration of the big digital companies. So we read on the newspaper that everybody are looking at this possibility without mentioning the name. But we all read the strategy from our biggest player in the mobile market. I am a believer that super app part of this wider trend of Web 3.0 applied to the mobile world. No? Because in the end, it allows to let multiple players to enjoy the customer base that is not easy to build. If you are a startup, usually people spend a lot of money to set up the company, build the right organization, build the platform, and then in the reality, the challenge starts immediately after, no? When you need to convince user and build the traffic. It's super expensive. With the super app world, it's possible to create a vital ecosystem in which the value is not just at the center in the cloud by few players who have the muscle to innovate at the global level, but this is more a network economy in which the nodes can contribute to the success of the solution of other players across the world. So I'm a strong believer that it's not just a matter of a more sound model for customer, but it could be also an opportunity for a sort of mobile democracy in the small business that is going to happen in the world. We are AntGroup. The name is about Ant, no? The small. We are a strong believer about the giving more opportunity to the small player, especially in the innovation world. We know that every time there is innovation, by definition, the market goes in the direction of consolidation, because only big players have the power to sustain investment and the risk. With the Web 3.0 and with one of these levers, Superapp, there is the possibility to invert the trend and let countries, bigger countries like UK, no? We know how much it's difficult for Europe, for UK to compete in the digital and the mobile world. So this could be one trend that we should invest on, not only to give value to customer, but also to try to play a role in the next wave of digital economy. And we know everything is going to become digital. We cannot miss this opportunity. Europe was the best in the telecommunication, mobile communication, and unfortunately in digital, we did not have this strong power like in the past. This is dangerous. We are going to miss leadership in our traditional industry, starting from automotive. And I do believe that we need to reinterpret this super app trend, this Web 3.0 trend in the interest of the overall growth plan of Europe, including UK.
A couple of thoughts actually further to Pietro's statement. I think number one is the user behavior. In emerging markets, used to be like a cash only, non-digital, but it come to mobile-centric, digital only. And people kind of adopt this mobile-centric and super app behavior, and make it convenience, safe and easy to use, and also digital, sort of a only proposition make it really popular. Number one. Number two, I would say it's a regulatory. I mean, in the emerging markets, it's often, I would say, regulatory, regime and governance actually often behind this digital transformation innovation. So kind of, going to take China, for example. When Alipay was invented and our version of open banking, there was no regulation behind it. It's just like a giant API aggregating banking apps and then also, making this instant pay in, pay out, and just to generate a pretty phenomenal user trust and its user experience enhancement. So that's second. And the third one, I mean, I see this antitrust, lots of antitrust discussion for the tech giants. We don't need to mention which name, but I would say if there will be actually a giant super app in the Western world, often it will be targeted by this antitrust or fair trade organization. That's my sort of 3 points. Conscious time, let's move on to the next question. So, I actually like to talk about, the next one. I mean, this just opened the challenges, when we're moving into the super app discussion. And we talk about opportunities, talk about the benefits and, value proposition. So what do you see? Could it be the challenges, when we launch or actually, develop a super app? And so, probably I want to start with the first point, data privacy, security side, and I'd really love to hear from Max, and what's your view, and how would you actually, provide any suggestion for the people in the room?
So I think super apps have the right to play in the same landscape as established businesses, because data and financial security are paramount. Well, this is the foundations of a successful digital economy. So it is a challenge, but super apps don't have to build the expertise themselves. They can partner with best-of-breed organizations such as a GBG to help them navigate through those concerns that you outline.
Thank you very much. Anyone else want to talk about that? Data privacy for Superap before I move into the next one?
I can just add
Ritesh?
maybe a couple of examples. So Viber started as a messaging app, and it's in messaging app, end-to-end encryption is one of like kind of industry standard. So there's a completely different way of building a product or a feature when you're looking at a communication as the vertical. But if you want to have payments like a digital wallet, as you mentioned, or e-commerce, like accepting payments from merchant-specific point of view. Now, we need to have two-factor authentication, like very simple thing. So any transaction, it's regulatory mandated, but it's also like gives the user more comfort that it's more secure to transact on this platform. Now, imagine if you were to open your messaging app and to read or send any message if you had to put a two-factor authentication. So that probably would not work. So within the same app, trying to create very different user experiences, which is also kind of like from the consumer perspective, it gives them more comfort of mind or regulatory requirement, and how to manage that use case, but also then data behind it. There's different regulation, there's different need for having data. So in an end-to-end encrypted message, the service provider does not read anything, does not have any data. But if there's a refund for a financial transaction, we need to have the data. So there's a completely different need, requirement to build different type of products and different type of payment experience on something that started as, let's say, a content app or a communication app.
Yeah. One of the famous sentences in our company that at the beginning was one of the key enablers of the success of e-commerce and the cashless economy in China was about payment is all about the trust. I would say financial services is all about the trust. And within this super app environment where multiple players are operating, can be only one who do a mistake, it will create a problem for everybody. So it's important to design by security the overall architecture. Not possible to have a discount on this. We needs to be 100%, not 99 point something. No, needs to be 100% perfect. And one of the emerging concept is that the processing of the data needs to be privacy preserving. So the data should not be shared. Today we have luckily the technology that allows to let multiple companies to cooperate, but being sure that the data of the customer is always safe. It's not easy, but this is a precondition for this type of service to succeed in the market.
That's a good point. Thank you. I actually have a specific question for Slobodan. When a traditional bank, oh no, actually you're one of the biggest bank actually, trying to build a banking app, digital, only, and to suiting existing and future customer needs. Have you, encountered, user experiences, challenges? If so, how do you actually overcome those? And do you have any sharings for others as well?
Yeah, thank you for the question. And to bounce back to what Pietro said, there is a myriad of security challenges when we speak about just a simple standalone app. Obviously, we have end-to-end encryption. Everything has to be encrypted. If it touches your disk, you can have, if we're speaking about Android or iOS or iPhones, you need to be constantly aware if the device is jailbroken, any security threats, malicious apps that could hijack or that could do any type of malicious attacks. And if you're, let's say, Alipay or even better, WeChat, that has 3 million different apps within, like mini or micro apps that are embedded in there. Each of these apps is a potential security threat for them. All the time you have to be sure that the one that is triggering any API call towards your servers is actually the person that you are talking to, that it's authenticated and that it's not man-in-the-middle attack or any different type of attack that can happen. So it's super complicated to do it when you have a standalone app that does only 1 or 3, 5 things. If you have an app that has to deal with 20, 50 things, and if you have to cooperate with different providers of data or features, that gets even trickier. From what I've seen in these last 2-3 years at JP Morgan, it's still not on the roadmap to go for super apps. It's the same type of challenge writing hybrid apps. Like you can on one side you have native apps for Android and for iOS on the other side. It brings a lot of cost to development, but on the plus side, the benefit is that you have a quality app, that you can do plenty of things that you cannot easily do with a hybrid app, as WeChat is, for example, or Alipay. So those are all these problematics that we have to deal with. It would be great to have a super app, but if it could be natively written and natively compiled on the app instead of having web views and a hybrid approach, that would be superb. But at the present time, we don't have these technological opportunities.
Thank you. I think the banking sector or traditional banks actually also doing active digital transformation in order to accept the challenges, also actually serving existing customer, future customer in competition with those super apps. If you explore, this banking, traditional banking sector, I'd like to discuss, from your perspective, our panelists actually, what do you think this, opportunity will be? Do you think it's going to be the competition, or do you think it will be cooperation, or both? So going to be my question. I think if I may start with Laura, I see you smiling. You probably have a good answer for that.
Competition. I don't worry so much about competition anymore because everyone always asks me, do you think that Apple is going to become a bank? Is Apple going to take over from JP Morgans of the world? Does Amazon want to become a bank? Does Facebook want to become a bank? And my answer, having worked in the big tech companies, is typically no. They don't want to be. They want to partner. They want to have the relationship with the customer, yes. They want to engage the customer through working with FinTech partners and payments, et cetera. But they don't really want to be regulated as a bank. So I think that they have to partner. And I know that the FinTechs are trying to get more into becoming super apps by bringing commerce into their domain. So that's a different type of partnership as well.
So Laura thinks it's going to be partnerships. And do you agree, Slobodan, from a bank perspective?
She said at the beginning it's also a competition. I see it also as a competition between them, but obviously you need partnership, because if you want to compete against Google and have an app, that's going to be impossible. Because if you want to place it on Google Play Store, which is 80% of all the mobile apps running out there in the world, you have to cooperate with them.
Thank you. That's very fair. Very diplomatic answer. Thank you. Lovely. Crunch time. Let's move on. Do you see any opportunities, in the next, say 3-5 years in super app? At the moment, it's not a big thing. Anyone?
Yes, I believe that the market is going to face a big change in the next 3-5 years. Super app is one of the trends. It's not the only one, but today technology allows it to reshape most of the business. I liked a lot the concept of convergence. This was a hot topic 10 years ago, no? Telecom and media convergence. Today is a convergence in all the sector. And in order to have a convergence in all the sector, digital or better, mobile, if you talk about consumer, is the glue. And we see what happened in the automotive sector. No? A company like Tesla now is a market capitalization that is much bigger than all the traditional players. And we can talk about media, we can talk about any sector. we see a total reshape of the boundary of the business, of the scale economy, of the cost of transaction. So it's this is definitely a challenge for the incumbent that can also leverage this as an opportunity to enter in ancillary business or in new market. But I see this also as a big opportunity for all the startup and the vital force that bet on innovation. We know how much it's difficult to innovate. Innovate means to take a lot of risk. But if the market is growing, there will be a lot of players who will get a return on this new concept that is arriving everywhere, in every sector, every region.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think the big opportunity when it comes to identity risk and regulation, collaboration is going to benefit all. So as a business, GBG, we process in a region of 200 million identities every month. The super apps are actually harnessing those positive and negative insights and then using them to make their own decisions and ultimately making the world a safer place. So when we talk about the future, it's about having that consumer trust in the brand, and it's GBG that's helping to power that element.
Okay, thank you, Max. Conscious time, I try to wrap up. And so for each panelist, can you be bold and to predict what will happen in 10 years' time for the super app? And so just 2 lines, and what do we just imagine, for the future 10 years and super app going to be? Just a couple of lines. Can I start from Pietro? Or whoever is ready.
No, I mean, for us, we do believe that the future will be only super app. It will be the only architecture for mobile. I don't see the model of app focused on a single product that will resist. So definitely app that can still become a sort of a flagship for market leader, but it will be a necessary step for an app to be present on the place where traffic goes. So I mean, this is what the Chinese Asian experience is teaching to us, and so I'm very confident that this is a mega trend that is going to change the world of business. Is one way.
Yeah, I think if I project forward 10 years, I do see more than one super apps in every region of the world. In the first 10 years of all the mobile apps, there was like an explosion of an app for every activity you can think of. I think at some point, some of these will start consolidating. Doesn't mean every super app in every region will look exactly same and will provide exactly same services, but there will be multiple apps providing many services in one place, and they have some natural advantage. Once you start building some scale and momentum, cost of acquisition starts going down, marketing starts becoming easier for cross promotion usage. So I think I do see the trend consolidating towards at least few super apps in each region of the world.
I would predict that in 10 years in the West, we will not have a one app to rule them all, but we will have niche super apps. So I think that we will have, say, a travel super app, a fashion super app, a dating super app, a ride-sharing super app, maybe a metaverse super app. So I think there are lots of different niche super apps that we will. Because of subscription fatigue, we will consolidate into those niche super apps. But I think that my concern about the U.S. and the West and Europe is that those privacy concerns will prohibit us from having the Alipay or the WeChat.
Yeah, I think the super apps who don't collaborate and don't embrace the regulatory framework will probably become obsolete, or they'll be defined to a regional use case or specific vertical. However, on the flip side, those that think outside the box and drive cross-border and cross-industry collaboration have the real opportunity, in my opinion, to be the one app that will rule them all.
I think in 10 years' time, as Laura said, we'll have plenty of niche apps or a lot of super-ish apps. And also because of the peculiarity of North America and Europe, we will have a myriad of those super apps, if you want to call them, but we won't have one WeChat, one M-Pesa like in Kenya, or different types that we can see now in the rest of the world.
Fantastic. Thank you very much again for our panelists' insights, contribution, sacrificing your time. Can we get a round of applause? And thank you very much. And can you let the audience know where can we find you? If LinkedIn or
Downstairs next to the bar.
I'll be at the pub as well.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.